Welcome to the Recon Trader. In today's video, I will share with you a pattern I've been watching on the Bitcoin daily candle chart that actually involves the EMA ribbons, which could lead to a parabolic move on the part of Bitcoin. Now that move could be up or down. And so before we dive into the weeds to look at the one-day chart, we will jump over to the 1 hour candle chart on Bitcoin. And since hitting the all-time high back here at 67,000, we did see a bit of a pullback. If you watched my video when we were hitting this all-time high, I was saying now would be a good time to take some profit, as we are more than likely to see a pullback. And so I hope some of you took some profit back up in this area. However, now we are seeing a reversal back towards that upside, but we do need to clear this resistance of about 63,700. We see resistance a couple times here, and we see it acted as previous support. So it's not uncommon for previous support to turn into resistance, and that's what we see back here. And now we're seeing that same type of resistance, which could result in a reversal. Now I do have a trend line drawn in here, and we have seen it come back and basically bounce off of this trend line. And as long as this price action respects this trend line, we could see the price squeeze into somewhat of a triangle and then see a breakout. Now that breakout could be towards the top side or the downside. And as an elite trader, I'm not here to make predictions. I just look at the opportunities and try to determine where the least amount of risk is with the greatest amount of reward. And so if we break up, then we could see a move back towards the top side of 66,000 to 67,000. If we break down through this trend line, then we could see a move back towards 62,000, where we saw resistance and previous support back here. Or we could return right back down here to say around 60,000, which has been support on multiple occasions on this recent pullback. Now, before getting to the daily candles where I see that pattern setting up, I zoom out to the 4 hour candles. There is yet another pattern that I'm watching for a breakout or a breakdown. Again, we see the 63,700 level is acting currently as resistance, and did as well back here after selling off from the all-time high. And so the first objective for Bitcoin would be to get above this level. However, if you're like me, I look for confirmation when I trade. Some traders take a little higher risk and will go ahead and jump in on the first move. I look for confirmation. Does that cause me to miss a portion of a move? Absolutely. However, when you take the first move, yes, you get high rewards. You also get high risk. That means you have higher losses. My personal strategy is to limit those losses. I like to have small losses and bigger wins. And so what I would be looking for right now on the 4 hour chart is a breakout of this upper trend line, which then would confirm the move above the 63.7. Confirmation that it's not a fake out getting above 63.7 and moving down. Now, of course, it still could, but the more confirmation I receive, the more likely the price is going to move in my direction. Now, on the flip side, we could reject here and then continue to bounce in between these trend lines and eventually get a breakout towards the upside or the downside. Now, if it actually breaks down, then we'd be looking at somewhere between 58 and 56,000, I believe, is where our support lies further back on this chart. However, being the beginning of the week, when you see a positive move on a Monday, typically that will carry through for at least a couple days. However, that is not set in stone, and we could simply just roll over and come back down to the 60,000 level and bounce once again. So with that all being said, we'll jump over here to the daily candle chart, and the pattern I was looking at was when Bitcoin got back above the EMA ribbons and started to move up. Typically, Bitcoin will pull back into these ribbons before the next parabolic move up. If we look back and check our immediate 6, you can see when Bitcoin had this big move up and got above the EMA ribbons, it came back on about a 4-day sell-off, only to then touch the ribbons and then proceed with its next move up. It then had essentially another 4 or maybe 5-day sell-off, again touching the ribbons, and then moving back up, kind of going sideways, continuing that move up. And of course, you always want to watch out for the move when it breaks down below. Back here, I actually did a video saying that if Bitcoin closed below the daily ribbons, I'd go short. It did. I went short. I showed you all the results of the win on that particular trade. I think it was 40 or 60%. I don't recall. Now, on the flip side, I also went long once we closed above. Now, once we got above, you did see Bitcoin kind of come towards the ribbons, but we didn't really get a touch. Since then, it's had a parabolic move up to its all-time high. And then we did, at the end of the week, start to see Bitcoin sell off. We didn't really get into the ribbons. I really would have preferred to see a touch of the ribbons. However, today we are moving up. And so there is the possibility that this was the move towards the ribbons before the next move up, which I would have my profit target set at around this line here, which is one of the Fibonacci levels, and that lies right around 74,700. So call it 74,000 to 75,000. Somewhere in between there would be a profit target for me if I were to get long. Now, with that being said, I didn't actually get long because I did not get my move back into the ribbon like I would have preferred to see, like we get back in here. We did not get that touch, and so I'm still basically waiting to see if we get that pullback and that touch and then a bounce off, or if we come up into the all-time highs, do we make a double top? And if it looks like we're going to make a double top, then I would perhaps get short with a profit target of at least 60,000, depending on, again, where these EMA lines are. And if you're curious how strong this pattern of hitting the EMAs and bouncing off is, we can actually check our 6 and look a little further back to the start of this whole Bitcoin run up. And you can see when we pull back, we come into the ribbons, we bounce off, we come back down and touch the ribbons, we bounce off, touch down into the ribbons, set an all-time new high. And again, on the flip side, you can see when it breaks down below those ribbons, we generally get a pretty good sell-off. And so this EMA ribbon bounce pattern is what I'm looking for now out of Bitcoin. And if this was it, then we could see the move back, like I said, to around 75,000. So if the bears are able to push this back down and break 60,000, then my next level of support would really be, again, around that 57,000 level. And so I think that pretty much wraps it up. I just wanted to share with you this EMA ribbon bounce pattern that I was looking for out of Bitcoin. Not so sure we got it, so we could still see a little bit of downside, but that's why you stay on alert. You let the charts dictate what you do, and I will have an update video in the near future on what actually happens with this Bitcoin price. So now would be a good time to shoot the subscribe button so you don't miss out on future technical analysis videos. If you like this video, do me a favor, spike a like. If you have any questions or comments, drop those in the comment section down below. And remember, never send your money into battle without first doing your recon. See you in the next video.